guys, welcome back. Hope you've all been keeping super well. Today I'm going to film a little video showing you guys two really easy, healthy, balanced lunch recipes. I feel like lunch is low-key the hardest meal out of all three. Breakfast always pretty straightforward, dinner kind of straightforward, but lunch is just one of those ones where I personally can struggle, and I feel like a lot of people can struggle. So I am going to share with you guys today two recipes for some easy lunches. They do require a little bit of prep. They can be done as like if you're eating at home or as a meal prep. So just getting a few of the components sorted can make it really easy to throw together in the morning to take with you for a lunch or the night before. Both of these recipes are also gluten-free and could pretty easily be made dairy-free as well, if you're dairy-free. But most of all, they're really balanced, really healthy, using whole, fresh ingredients. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into our first recipe. Okay, so for this first recipe, I'm going to be doing one that you might have already seen before in probably a few of my What I Eat in a Day's On, because this one has been a go-to for like years. It's one of our favorite ones, and that is the burrito bowl. We're going to be spicing things up a little bit this time. We're going to be making some pulled chicken, which is kind of like a little bit more special and really enhances the burrito bowl. So let's jump straight in. So first up, I am going to be making some shredded chicken. I'm actually going to be using shredded chicken for both of these recipes today. I'm going to be using some chicken breast fillets and also some chicken thighs, although ideally I would normally just use chicken thighs. They just tend to be moister and overall just better, but we only had chicken breasts today at the shops and a little bit of chicken thighs, so that's what I'm doing today. But for the purposes of you at home, I would actually just buy chicken thighs if you want the tastiest result. So to make this pulled chicken, I'm going to be using the pressure cooker function on our Philips all-in-one, which is essentially an Instant Pot. We just bought it before the Instant Pot hit Australia. So to start, we're going to pop our chicken breasts into the pot, and the chicken thighs, side note, happened to be bad. So they didn't make it in, but we went with the chicken breast anyway. Then I'm going to prepare 2 cups of water with 2 teaspoons of bone broth powder mixed in. You could also just use a homemade chicken bone broth or chicken stock. I'm also going to add in some salt, some pepper, about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of onion flakes. Then I'm just going to pour that in to cover the chicken. It doesn't have to be fully covered, we just want a good amount of water. And I'm going to set that to 45 minutes on pressure cook. So while our chicken is cooking, we are going to go ahead and start preparing the other components to this meal, starting with our salsa. So this salsa is really simple, 3 ingredients, and it's super fresh. I'm going to start by dicing up 3 Roma tomatoes. Then we're going to dice up half of a red onion. Then finally, I'm just going to chop up some coriander. Add in some pepper and give that a good toss, and voila. Super easy, super simple, 3 ingredients, and it makes the meal just really enhanced in my opinion. It's super fresh, super yummy. Then we're just going to prepare the rice. So I am going to do 1 cup of jasmine rice. I like to make sure that I give it a really good wash, so I just add in some water, I give it a few mixes, and just pass it through a little colander. But once your rice is nice and rinsed out and like clear water running off it, pop that into a pot with 1.5 cups of water, a good pinch of salt, and then I'm going to put that onto our stove top at a high heat for as long as it takes until it starts to bubble. Once it starts bubbling, I'm going to put on the lid, turn the heat right down to a low simmer, and start a timer for 13 minutes. Once 13 minutes is done, I turn off the heat and let that sit with the lid on for at least 5 minutes, and that is how we make our rice. Next up, we're just going to make a really simple guacamole. So it's not rocket science. We're going to smash up 1 avocado with some salt and some pepper, and that is it. Alternatively, especially if you're doing like a meal prepped lunch, sometimes it can be easier to do sour cream. We just kind of want a saucy element for this, but obviously sometimes avocado doesn't keep so well. You can try adding in some lime if you're putting it in a packed lunch, but otherwise sour cream is your go-to. And then finally, I'm just going to grate up some cheese. After 45 minutes is up, we are going to let the steam out of our pressure cooker and our chicken is ready to be pulled. So I'm just going to transfer that into a dish, and then we're going to get 2 forks and we're going to start pulling that chicken apart. I also like to add in a couple of ladlefuls of the broth that it was cooked in. This just helps to keep it nice and moist, especially if you're going to be storing it in the fridge. You don't want your chicken to dry out. I'm also going to add in some salt and just give that a good mix. Last but not least, I'm also going to chop up some lettuce. Extra points if it's cos lettuce. I was using a mixed one this time. And it's time to build our bowl. So I'm going to add in our white rice, our lettuce, our chicken, our salsa, guacamole and cheese. And that is pretty much done. This has like been one of our favorite lunches for such a long time. It's so good, it's easy, it's healthy, it's colorful. It just makes me happy to look at, to be honest, as well. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this one too. And optional, you can also add a good squeeze of lime. Also, I'll quickly add, if you're doing this as a meal prep, I like to package up the chicken and the rice together in a microwavable dish, so that can be heated up, and then I put the salsa and the lettuce into a jar so that can all be mixed together at the time that you're eating it, so the hot parts are hot, cold parts are cold. Okay, now on to recipe number 2. We're going to be doing a pulled chicken and slaw stuffed potato. So this is again just like a really nice, simple, fresh lunch. As the name suggests, we're going to be making some sweet potatoes and stuffing them with a red cabbage slaw and our pulled chicken kind of tossed together in a homemade aioli. Today I'm actually going to be doing that as a proper meal prep for some of Nick's lunches for the week. So I'm going to actually be doing them up separately so that we've got the chicken and the potato together that can be reheated in a microwave, with the slaw taken separately that can then get mixed in that it stays nice and fresh and crunchy. So I am going to jump straight into this little lunch recipe. Alright, first up we are going to start by baking our sweet potatoes whole. So I have 5 sweet potatoes that are fairly medium small, and I'm just going to pop them into the oven at 190 degrees fan forced for about an hour. The key really is to test it with a fork. If it goes in easy, we're done. But the cooking time will depend on the size of sweet potato that you're cooking. Next, we're going to make a homemade aioli dressing. So we're going to need 300 ml of extra virgin olive oil, 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 4 egg yolks, a tablespoon of lemon juice, some garlic cloves, salt and pepper. I'm going to start by just dicing up our garlic cloves. I'm using 2 cloves, but they are giant cloves of garlic. So if you're doing normal ones, you might use more like 4. Then I'm just going to give our lemon a quick squeeze so that we've got 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, about half of a lemon. Then we're going to make this aioli using a food processor. So into the food processor, we're going to start by adding our egg yolks, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, mustard, salt, pepper, and garlic. Then we're just going to process that for a few minutes until the mix starts to emulsify. And then while the food processor is still running, I'm going to slowly start to pour in the olive oil. You'll notice that the mix should begin to thicken up. If it's too thick, you can add in a small amount of water until it reaches a consistency that you're happy with. But otherwise, there you have it. We have our homemade aioli. Now we're going to be making a really simple red cabbage slaw. So I'm going to start by chopping our cabbage in half. So I'm going to just be using 1/4 of a red cabbage, and I'm going to cut out the core of that, but making sure that you keep a little piece of it just so that it holds it together while you're chopping it up, and just slicing that up as thin as you can. I feel like the thinner the better. Then I'm just going to chop up a handful of parsley from our garden and toss that all together with our homemade aioli. And we're all done. There is our red cabbage slaw. So you'll know that your sweet potatoes are done when you can pierce them easily with a fork, and then we are ready to put these lunches together. So as I said, I was doing this as a meal prep for Nick's lunches, so I'm going to start by putting all of our sweet potatoes into our glass containers. Then I'm going to slice each one down the middle and open them up with 2 forks. Then I'm going to load each one up with our pulled chicken using the same recipe that we did earlier. Then I'm just going to add the slaw into some glass jars, so at work it's easy to assemble. You can microwave the potato and chicken and then add in the slaw so it's nice and crisp and fresh. And I also put one together for my lunch this day as well. So just mixing the chicken in with the slaw and then popping it into our potato. Adding a little extra of our homemade aioli, some fresh parsley, and we're good to go. And there we have it, our pulled chicken and slaw stuffed sweet potato. Okay, and that's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you try out either of these lunch recipes, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you guys all in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hello Bubba. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.